Good evening and welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It's this time round 7 for the Singapore Grand Prix. There is only 3 races left this season, so it is very critical now not to make any mistakes during the last course of these 3 races. And mistakes can be made easily around here in Singapore too. It's such a brutal track as well, with the walls getting closer as well. It's like Monaco with the walls here, but we'll see then how the drivers get along. 16 drivers here tonight, as unfortunately we couldn't have a full house, but 16 will do. We still can see some plenty of great track racing as well. This track, of course, has been modified in the past after I think the chicane's been taken out as well. In the last sector, it has been reduced and the track times are much quicker around here as well. I think they modified the track in 2023, wasn't it? I think they did, because I remember George Russell crashing in 2023 during the last few laps of the Grand Prix. And of course, in 2022, when the track was not modified just yet, it was Sergio Perez who won in 2022, because I think Charles Leclerc was attacking him until I think he had that 5-second time to Perez, but still went on to win the Grand Prix. As you can tell, it is only me tonight, unfortunately. My main commentator, which is Logan, who is commentating for Division 1 because Brian unfortunately couldn't make it. So Logan's been promoted to Tier 1 for the time being. I'm taking you through to Tier 2 as we head down towards Tier 1, Turn 2 and Turn 3. Look at that, nice usage of the curves in Turn 2 as we maximise all the track. Back in the power once again as we make our way down towards Turn 4, clipping the apex. You want to get as close to the wall as you possibly can, except hit it, of course, like Kevin Magnussen did when he picked up that puncher. I think, was it 2024? Magnussen got a puncher there, or am I making that up? But here we are down towards Turn 7, now coming towards Turn 8, and this one, right hand we go. Flicking in, carrying the speed as we hit the apex very nicely, back to the bottom once again as we head towards Turn 9, just lifts off on the edge of there as we step on the lapa once again. Parler was a contender for the podium last week, but unfortunately, I think he spun out Woodcut, didn't he? What an unusual place to spin at Woodcut first, I think. Oh, he's hit the wall! He is out of qualifying! Parler has been caught out by the wall there. My heart was going. It literally caught me by surprise. But like Charles Leclerc did back in 2018, when he hit the wall on the entry, and he is out on the qualifying session. I literally got a heart attack from that. Anyways, on board with the Sauber and Lawrence then, as he heads down the back straight, coming down towards Turn 13, as he hits the apex very nice there, as Lawrence gets on the lap pedal once again. It was going to be a kick-start 1-2 on the last lap, but unfortunately, I think Lawrence and Finley made contact as Fraser goes towards the top of the time machine's Hazara. Last week's race winner goes up into P3. Alex Marciano goes into P2. Here comes the Sauber now of Lawrence. The Dutchman puts himself behind his teammate of Hazara. And I think Sauber lost crucial points as well due to that contact in the final corner on the final lap. These lap times are coming in thick and fast. We've got Yanil in the Williams in P2. We've got Kevin Zundberg in P5 in the Alpine, who was struggling. And both Hasses then out of qualifying already. I'm not quite sure what's happened there between Hasses. As Mike, thank you very much, mate. I'm not the GOAT of PSGL F2. That belongs to Logan. He is the GOAT of PSGL F2. The main commentator, of course, who is now commentating in F1 in about a few minutes' time. Here comes Tom towards the line. What can Tom do in Mercedes? He goes up to P5, just ahead of Kevin Zundberg then. So that's your first lap times coming in thick and fast. And so far, it is Fraser who occupies the first row. Now, interestingly, Fraser had a really good pace back at the British GP, but during the second stint, he just dropped away because it was him and Azara trading DRS in the first stint. But in the second stint, it was actually Finley who was the one fighting with the likes of Hazara and Lawrence towards the end. And it cost him big points because I think it was Finley and Lawrence who made contact going down in towards the Luffield section. It was very weird contact indeed. It looks like Lawrence just played him off the track in frustration. But yeah, it cost him big time, especially for the championship. Like I said, can't afford to make any mistakes in the last few races of the season, because we've got Singapore, we've got Mexico, and I believe we've got Abu Dhabi. So in the championship standings, was a bit quiet on the track. I can read you them out so far. So the rest of the drivers then made their way back in the pit lane after they completed their first round of runs. We've still got a few people who are yet to get a lap time on the board, which is Finley, Evan Knight, Nico Rassenberg, and Zane. This man Finley has taken 2 wins this season. He's on a podium streak of 4 in a row after securing a podium at the Silverstone Grand Prix. So he's on a mega streak so far. It's Finley looking very good so far. And Finley is the championship leader. He leads Hazara by 8 points. So Finley has got 56 points. Hazara is P2 with 48. We've got Yanil in P3. You know, Yanil's had a very... well, he's been very consistent in terms of getting those points because he's only had 1 podium this season. How's Yanil? And that was back in Austria, my bad. We are in Singapore right now, as Yanil's P3 with 43 points. That's what, oh, Finley spun! A very bizarre spin there from Finley. Did he clip the apex and got the throttle very early? He might have done, but won't do his tyres any favours then. On board with the Aston Martin driver, Nico Rosberg is right behind us. So let's see how Finley does on his first lap around here in Singapore then. Turn 1, turn 2, and turn 3, taking very nicely. He clips the curb, or takes a lot of curbing towards turn 3. Very nice indeed as we head down towards turn 5. Now let's see how he does into this corner. Can be very tricky, especially on the exit, but hooks up very nicely with the DRS wide open for Finley as he heads down the first straight, sorry, as we head down towards the first DRS zone. Is a 26.0 Finley there. You can see the rear of the car just started to move slightly as he locks up going down towards turn 8 as we get back on the throttle. Once again coming in towards this left hand, here we go, just a lift off the throttle there as we now stamp on the loud pedal once again, headed down towards the old Singapore sling. There are a few people in the past who caught out, including, I think, a Force India back then, I can't remember who it was it Lietzi or Suto? But I think the Sauber of Kimu Kobayashi, and of course Kimi Räikkönen, who got caught out back in 2008. Not just those drivers, but other drivers as well who have been caught out. I do personally miss the Singapore sling, but of course in these modern day Formula 1 cars, the track has been heavily modified to improve the racing here. As we've got Finley then ghosted through the Sauber as he makes his way down towards this little chicane here. You can see that the rear of the car wants to step on him every time as we now make our way towards the final 2 corners. Let's see, can Finley join his teammates on the front row as he crosses the line? He can't. It's only P7 as Nico goes into P6. Nico scored his best result last week at the British GP, so a much better race from him as he finished in P6. Actually, his first points of the season for Nico Rosberg. So it's been a dreadful season from the young German driver as they were looking to capitalise now on some good results. Alex Marciano coming towards the end of the first sector with a 25.9 in the first sector. We haven't really seen much of Alex so far this season as well. He's been loitered around just outside the top 10. He's got 2 points finishers, if I must say. So Alex Marciano, could Singapore be the one where he can capitalise and try and gain as many points? So far, every single driver out there on the circuit, so this track is very busy for the time being as Alex Marciano, unfortunately, invalidates on that jump there. You want to jump and hop over, skip over the chicane there, but unfortunately, I think he just did too much of it. As Hazara, last week's race winner, is headed down towards turn number 11 now as we stamp on the laugh once again. So every single driver out there so far on the circuit. Hazara's improving by 90 hundredths of a second. We've got Fraser coming towards the final 2 corners. Oh, too much curb there as the rear just snapped away, but it's still quickest with a 25.5. Despite that mistake, what a Hazara now making his way towards the final 2 corners. He goes. Let's see what can he do in a kick Sauber. He crosses the line. He goes up into P2 with a 25.7. He's exactly 100 quicker. No, 100 slower. Sorry, yeah, Van got up into P2, so that caught me out big time. But Van, great lap time for him in the Red Bull. And Hazara and Yanil separated by 100ths of a second exactly there. So fine margins around this tricky racetrack as we see other people then making their way downtown in towards turn 13. They go. Christian goes into P3 with a 25.702. So that's 3 drivers in 25.7. So close around here. And we've got Tom now heading towards the chicane. Oh, as you can see there, the back of the car is complaining as he tapped the wall on the outside there. So trips to the pits is necessary. And unfortunately, that lap time is done and dusted. So majority of drivers back in the pit lane. The pecking order hasn't really changed that much from the guys below. So I think majority of these guys make mistakes around here. So obviously, like, invalidations can be quite key as well. I think like the turn 1 and turn 2 can be very tricky itself because you've got to maximise all the track. You're going to use all the road on the outside, of course, without validating. And this one here, headed down to this corner, you want to try and just ride over the curb as much as you can. But we've seen other people, like Alex, got caught out by that, and unfortunately invalidated his lap time then. So, second runs are done. We've got Alex Marciano on another outlap. Is this a brand new set of soft compound tyres? It is, so that's quite early to put on a brand new set of soft compound tyres because the track continues to evolve around here as well as the qualifying ticks down. So, quite early to be making your third run because he's been on the track 2 times so far, his first and second lap. So this is his third lap on a brand new set of soft compound tyres. So interesting here going on for Alex Marciano. I know that other people behind as well may be just attempting their second laps now because their first laps have been completed a few minutes ago. But we'll see how it goes. Both Hassas will start down in P15 and P16. As we see, Alex then just warming up his tyres. Of course, on this game, you can't brake and accelerate at the same time to warm your tyres. There was a glitch, of course. If you went into AI mode, your tyres would warm up better and quickly. But, well, I say unfortunately, but obviously that glitch has been gone because that's not supposed to be there. But we're on board with the Ferrari driver right now as he's about to start a flying lap time. Let's see what Alex can do then in the Ferrari, who is P13 in the championship. And Alex's results so far hasn't been spectacular. He's had lots of DNSs. He's had 1 DNF. He's only finished the races once this season, and that was back at the Belgian Grand Prix, finished to P4 then. So Alex hasn't been around much this season, but let's see what we can do in Singapore. Looking really strong so far. Can he keep it up as we're making it out of turn 5? Doesn't really use all of the track on the outside there as you want to get close to the wall. Let's see if he's up or down in the first set. So he's up, look at that, by a tenth and a half. So good signs of improvement there as he flirts with the curb on the outside of turn 7. Heading down towards turn, there we go. The back of the car just snatching away from him as he tries to fight with traction on the exit there as we head through turn 9. That was very nice indeed. Hit the apex really nicely, got the throttle. The car seemed well balanced in that particular part of the track. As now we head towards these difficult sequence of corners here, which can catch a lot of people out, especially hitting the wall on the outside there. As we head down towards the famous corner where Charles Leclerc, of course, crashed in 2018 in Singapore. I think it was in practice sessions. I remember Alex Albon and Sergio Perez getting into a bit of a bother there, but Alex has lost a bit of time in that middle sector. He's lost it by a few hundredths of a second there. So let's see if he can improve or not in this last set. So how much time can he find, or how much time has he lost as he uses all the ERS there? As you can see, he's only fueled the acquired for the Ferrari car there as he makes his way out on the final few corners to go. Let's see, where can the Ferrari go as he crosses the line right now? It's P3. Look at that, 2.5 tenths up in that final sector. Despite losing time in the middle, he gained it back. What a lap time there as we see our main competitors as Fraser just kisses the wall on the outside, flirts with it. As we've got, I think, a Van who puts himself into P2. Van's been looking really strong so far. And look at the times from P1 to P3 in the 0.5s. That's how close it is around here in Singapore. Finley, I think he just crossed the line up into P3, it says, as Kevin Zundberg in the Alpine goes up into P4. We know Kevin's very quick, but he's only had 1 appearance so far. That was back. Well, I know he's quick because I've seen him racing in other leagues, but the last time he appeared here in PSGL was at the Belgian Grand Prix. Don't know why I insist on keeping. Don't know why I keep calling it on the track Singapore. But anyways, let's see who's improving then. Ivan is improving in the first set. I thought he just completed a lap in P2, or was he just go for another flying lap? I'm not quite sure. So let's see if he is or not on another flying lap as we head down towards the hairpin we go. Exiting the corner there, let's see how much he's up in the middle sector as there's 3 minutes and 25 seconds left to go. He's improved by 2 tenths as Fraser goes quickest. It's a 25.2 for CPI Fraser as he raised the bar once again. Fraser is looking very quick so far as his teammate of Finley is just behind Ivan. There he is, but unfortunately has another little lap time. Let's see what Ivan could do as he makes his way towards the farthest corners he goes. As he crosses the line right now, he stays in P2, but look at the gap, separated by about almost 600 seconds there. That's super close indeed between those two. Anybody else there improving? We've got Zane in P6, but not on a fly lap so far. As the Kick Saubers don't really seem like strong in qualifiers so far, but we know they prevail during the late stage of qualifying or in the race. They've got such good race pace. We know last race it was Hazara, and I think it was Fraser who was chopping and changing with DRS there, constantly swapping places with the DRS, of course, trying to keep the rest of the guys at bay. It did work to a certain degree, but unfortunately the second stint, that's when things changed around, and we saw what happened between, I think it was Finley and Lawrence at the time. Kevin Zumberg did retire, of course, the British GP. Same with Tallers, as Tallers, unfortunately, is not here tonight. Another handy driver as well on his day. We are missing quite a few handy contenders. Christian, the man that's got 2 wins this season, a man who's got a very good pace but seems to be struggling in other aspects of the racetrack. If you look at his records, 2 11 places, 2 first wins, 2 11 places and 2 first places, there we go, as I get my words out. And a 7th place at the Austrian Grand Prix. He did not start back in Silverstone, neither did I, so that's why I wasn't here tonight, or last week. But so far, Fraser has done a Sebastian Vettel back in 2013 and retired. That could be very interesting indeed. Let's see then if anybody can take Paul away from him. From Fraser. Sebastian Vettel, of course, did his flyer lap in 2013, retired in the pit lane, and other people tried to stop him as well. People like Hamilton, Rosberg. I think Rosberg started in 2nd place on that day, got Sebastian Vettel in towards turn 1. But of course, Sebastian Vettel with that superior car, and of course with his legendary driver, got past Nico Rosberg too. On board with the McLaren driver Christian, he's about to start his last flying lap then, the man who's P6 in the Drivers' Championship as we make our way now towards turn 1. There is 50 seconds left to go in this session. Majority of drivers then heading out of the track, ready for the final take around this racetrack. So far, 2 have retired, Zane, Ivan and Fraser, which makes 3 because I didn't see Ivan retire. So Ivan has retired, but much better from the Red Bull driver. And by the way, guys, I am ill, so that's why you're hearing me struggling to speak. So please be aware of that. I'm trying my absolute best to try and talk and provide the entertainment for you guys. As Christian then heads down towards turn 8, now coming through turn 9. I do believe Christian did improve in the first sector by a few hundredths of a second. Let's see, can he keep that momentum up as we head? Oh, look at that, super close on the wall. I've seen people in the past hit the wall on the inside there as he gets away with it. Coming towards the Addison Bridge where we saw Felipe Massa and Bruno Senna, going side by side in towards the Addison Bridge. Felipe Massa just winning out of that battle, of course. Christian, however, is 500ths up in the middle sector, half a tenth up, which is not be enough. So he needs to find more time in this last sector if he wants to start in a higher place, better than P7. As we make our way down towards the chicane we go, through 16 and 17 we go. Look at that, Deuce took a lot of curve on the entry there as he seems to struggle with the car as we make our way towards the final corners. Let's see, where can Christian go? As he crosses the line now, it's still P8, unfortunately. However, he did lose time as Kevin's gone for a spin out of turn number 8, I believe that is. Kevin spun the car, but P5 is still a mega result. Hey, Finley in the Aston Martin. Finley is 2 tenths up in the middle sector. Can he find more time to join his teammates on the front row? We're about to find out now. Can he make it Aston Martin 1-2? Aston Martin have been looking very good so far. You're nearly P4. Alex goes up into P3. What a mega lap time. But Finley, did he make a mistake through there? I'm not quite sure. As we make our way towards the finals and corners, let's see. Where can Finley place his car? It's P3. Ahead of Alex by 1,000th of a second there. Can the times get any closer than that? Nico Rosberg unfortunately has invalidated his lap time and made contact with the wall. So, qualifying is done and dusted, and your pole sitter is Fraser. Fraser, who retired early in the session with a 25.221. What an incredible lap time there from the Aston Martin driver. Let's see how he does during the race trim. We know in the race trim last I think it was last week at the British GP, he did start a pole. Did Fraser. He starts in a pole position, but in the race classifications he fell down the order in the second stint, and it was his teammate Finley who was challenging for the win. Tom finished in P3 ahead of Garachi, and the van was P5 ahead of Nico, so both Red Bulls scored some mega points back at the Silverstone Grand Prix last week. But anyways, it's Aston Martin pole with Fraser for his second pole in a row ahead of Ivan. Finley's up into P3, the championship leader looking very good so far, and he's ahead of his rivals too, which is very key and important for his race. Alex Marciano, very good for him in P4 in the Ferrari, ahead of Yunel. Kevin, the Dutchman, in the Alpine is 6th ahead of Zane. Lawrence in P8 ahead of Christian, and Hazara rounds off the top 10, so not been a very good qualifying session for the Kick Salvers. Tom, Nico, Gavocci, Evanai, Sapala and Leon, unfortunately, will be started down at the back end of the field, 15th and 16th. I'm not even spoken about the Japanese Grand Prix because I think Singapore qualifying itself has been more interesting than the Japanese Grand Prix. So, of course, last weekend at Japan, Max Verstappen with that fantastic mega lap time. Even if you're a Max Verstappen fan or not, you got to appreciate and give credit where it's due to the four-time world champion, that's Max Verstappen, who did a fantastic job to get pole off Lando Norris and Oscar Piastri. There were so many questions of if, buts, and etc. about should McLaren win the Grand Prix. But by the way, this is not the actual race start, so don't be surprised if you see people crashing or jumping the start, because obviously these guys are ghosts, which means collisions are off. We tend to turn collisions off during qualifying, then turn it back on for the race. So all these drivers are looking to disqualify themselves as quickly as they can, so we can march on to the actual race. Hope you guys enjoy what you've seen so far. Please like and subscribe to this YouTube channel, of course. PSGL Entertainment actually for you as well, as we have F1 very soon, but I think Logan have taken away for us. I am not your usual commentator for F2. It is Logan, so I've been replaced. I've replaced him and stepped forward to commentate for F2, which I'm enjoying so far. I can't wait to see how this race goes. Hopefully, I'm doing all right for you guys as well, trying to cope to my illness. I can't wait to see how this race goes as well. 31 lap race around here in Singapore. A chance of a safety car can be very high, which can change the whole trajectory of the strategy, change people's stints, change people's whereabouts on the circuit as well in comparison to where they were or should have been in before the safety car came out. But we'll see if safety cars do come out. Of course, back in Singapore, from 2008 to 2023, we had a 100% safety car record, I think. Then it got ruined in 2024. I say ruined. We don't want to see safety cars, but yeah, well, we don't really want to see safety cars for the wrong reasons. But that streak ended last season. That shows you the reliability of the cars as well, because all 20 drivers last week in Japan finished the race. I don't believe there was one single retirement back in Japan or in China, if I can remember. I can't remember anyone who retired in China. I don't think I can, but you can tell that reliability has come a long way. I know Alpine, Renault have struggled a lot in terms of reliability. Honda as well back then, hence why there were so many safety cars as well. But I think 2023, Logan Sargent was the one that caused the safety car when he hit the barriers at turn 8. And that was Red Bull's worst ever race. That was Red Bull's win this race. The only race they didn't win that season was in Singapore, because Carlos Sainz, the smooth operator, took it, and he played very cleverly as well against Lando Norris. He gave Lando Norris DRS so that Mercedes wouldn't overtake him or Carlos Sainz, and that was very clever tactical racing indeed for Carlos Sainz to keep Norris in DRS, because both Mercedes pitted onto brand new set of midi-compound tyres and therefore took the win. And Carlos Sainz took the win. In the Drivers' Championship here in PSGL F2, it is Finley who leads Hazara, 56 for Finley and 48 for Hazara, and that's separated by 8 points. Yanil in P3 with 43, 5 points behind Hazara. Lawrence in P4 with 41. He lost a whole bunch of points back at the British GP as he finished in 16th place. Maybe second could have been good for him, or third, but he lost a whole chunk of points. I'm not quite sure if he made contact with the wall in frustration, because we did see contact between him and Fraser as well. But Lawrence on the back foot. CPI Fraser P5 in the Drivers' Championship with 38, 3 points behind Lawrence. That's so incredibly close as well. You see, in a short season like this, mistakes cannot be forced to be made, unfortunately. You can't afford to make any mistakes around a short championship like this, with only 9 races in one season. Christian P6 with 36 ahead of Tales. Tales was looking very strong towards the start of the season, but had his misfortunes as well. Tom in 8th after scoring a podium last week at the British GP. Very good podium indeed. 8th with 24. Evan I's teammate 29th place with 17. Ivan P10 with 15. Garachi P11 in with 14 points. Jude 12th place with 12 points. And Jude, well, it must be said, a very disappointing season for him, because he finished in P3 at the Bahrain Grand Prix, but ever since then, He's either had DNSs or DNFs. He's had 3 DNSs and 2 DNFs. And we have 4 DNSs as well because, of course, he hasn't turned up for Singapore either. So I'm not quite sure what's happened to him over the course of this season. Are you just get racing here in Singapore? Because I certainly am. Of course, a track that requires high downforce. It can be very difficult to overtake as well around here, even though you have about... Is it... Yeah, you have 3 DRSOs, not 4, because I don't think the 4th one has been introduced on this game. So Codemasters hasn't really implemented a lot onto this game just yet. But I'm looking forward to it. Remember back in 2017? Oh, I was about to mention 2017, and now the rain has hit. So conventional timing there. I'm pretty sure a lot of drivers would have preferred the original starting grid with the dries in the last session. But it looks like full wet tyres, judging by the Red Bull of Nico Rosberg's garage. Because as you can see below Nico's garage, you can see the wet compound tyres then. So I think it could be wet. And remember back in 2017 when it was a dramatic start because Hamilton had a poor qualifying and it was Vettel, Verstappen and Raikkonen who made contact going down before turn number 1 because I think Raikkonen got a lovely launch and Verstappen was squeezed. Vettel unfortunately hit Verstappen and Raikkonen and I think Raikkonen hits Verstappen and Alonso going down towards turn 1 out of control. And later on, Sebastian Vettel spun because of his own fluids leaking after making contact there with his bodywork being detached from the car, fluid leaking everywhere, and spun, unfortunately. And that's when Lewis Hamilton went on to win ahead of Daniel Ricciardo and Valtteri Bottas. Hamilton had a mega start. Alonso had a mega start, but of course, bad luck runs in his name. Fernando Alonso, 20 years ago, won his first championship for Renault. 20 years later, he is still racing in Formula 1. Just incredible. Don't know how that man does it. How does he have the motivation to keep racing? Because surely, like after all these years being in, let's just say, midfield cars, it's just been such a struggle for Alonso recently, especially in Aston Martin. It is a full-wet race then, so qualifying was very important, and this gives a chance for those drivers to try and tweak the setup. But the benefit is, from having a new session, you can change setups. It's not like when you have Part Firme on in other leagues, where you have to keep the setup the same as qualifying heading towards the race. But here, with a brand new session in place, I think that you can turn Part Firme off. We are just waiting for the drivers to load their setups and we can get racing around here in this torrential rain at the Singapore Grand Prix. Will it be chaos going down towards turn 1? Who knows? Let's have a look, shall we? I think the last time we had a wet race in Singapore was at the 2022 Singapore Grand Prix, but of course it wasn't raining throughout the race, sorry. Same with 2017. It was a wet start, wasn't it, during the 2022 Singapore Grand Prix? As Sam says, how is the rain in Singapore? I have no idea, mate. Do you know what? I have seen wet races in Singapore before. Same with Abu Dhabi, which is a very weird one, and Spain as well. But it's quite rare to have such torrential rain in those places. Sorry about the notifications if you do see them on top of the screen. Hopefully they don't appear. What happened to Max Verstappen in 2022 in Singapore? Did he have to back off his lap in 2022? Because otherwise he would have run out of fuel. I think he did because 2023, yeah. So qualifying and the rain did affect 2022 a lot because I think Verstappen was improving on his last laps in Singapore. Then I think he ran out of fuel towards the end of the Grand Prix. Wet Singapore, my bet is a 4-time safety car. Sorry, 4 safety cars. Potentially, Tim, Lawrence, but we'll see. Or Lawrence. But the lights are about to go away very shortly. And we are underway for the Singapore Grand Prix here. Let's see who gets a better launch. It is Fraser turn one, in battle, it's the Ferrari and the Aston Martin. The Aston Martin Finley goes a bit deep, there's contact now as Alex goes through, up into P3, side by side now with the Williams of Yanil versus the Aston Martin. Looks like Finley, who gets a better launcher on the outside, has the inside line for turn 5 as he maintains, but here's the switch back from Yanil as he goes wheel to wheel now with the Aston Martin driver, under and over. That's a fantastic move, and he puts himself into P4, that's a mega move there from Yanil. As we now make our way down towards turn 7, it seems that all the drivers got a cleanish start so far in this Grand Prix, as we can see Tom, who goes a bit wide in the background as he dives it up the inside in towards turn 8. Now we've got the Red Bull of Nico alongside as he puts himself up into P12. Not yet, because Tom is still around the outside there in towards turn number 11 we go. Now he gets ahead for the time being as he puts himself into P10, so turn an overtake into a defence there as we've got Sapala and Cavrochi going side by side there as he jumps over the curb and he taps the ball there. So let's see how treacherous these conditions are. It's so far everybody's got a clean start as Fraser has built up a gap of just 1 second there. So lap 1, it is Fraser who leads the Grand Prix ahead of Ivan as Leon and Evan I go side by side in the background there. Oh, that's so close there on the wall. It is very, well, sometimes it can be very difficult at one in the exit of turn. I think it's turn 13. It can be a bit difficult, it catches a lot of people out, and some people outbrake themselves as they lose, well, basically concentration as it goes off the track there. We've got a few people squirming off the track as we've got Nico and Tom once again side by side. In the final 2 corners, Nico goes off the track, barely in the room, as the other Mercedes in the background goes off the track. Look at the Haas, who is boxed in the middle, and now Leon takes on Tom as he puts himself into P12. So mainly scraps in the midfield there, but so far so clean, other than a few moments, but so far so good. So all 16 drivers that remain in this race as we continue down towards turn 5. DRS obviously will be enabled as it's full conditions. Let's see the tyre compounds. Yeah, intermediates then, so the tyres are intermediates, but I wonder when you get dry towards the end of the Grand Prix, because usually we don't see a full wet race in Singapore. Every time I've commentated a race in Singapore, it's either gone from dries to wet, wet to dry, so we'll see how the weather changes, if it does or not. It definitely shows you that qualifying was very important as well, because it is difficult enough to overtake in the dry conditions or being stuck in DRS range, but here it's even more difficult in the wet conditions. So I wonder how these drivers will plan it out. Who has got the confidence to try and go the inside of people? So far we see some gaps forming as now the Williams is looking very, very handy behind Alex as he's chosen to go around the outside in towards the right-hander. Does make it stick, there's contact, wheel pumping, but still makes it out very cleanly. And let's see which one of these two get ahead of each other. So far the Ferrari's holding his ground. Can he stay in, or can he defend that position? Here we can't, because the Williams goes a bit deep in the braking zone and the Ferrari goes back around the outside. Not this time. Neil stays in P3 for the time being then. I thought for 1 second that Yanil would go completely off the road in towards the chicane. And in the background, that's Lawrence making his moves now as he goes down towards turn 1. He goes, the two Dutchmen going side by side there as Kevin there almost runs out of room in towards turn 1 as we still head wheel to wheel towards turn 3. It looks like Lawrence gets a better launcher on the outside, which he does as he puts himself into P6. Oh, look at that massive slide there in towards turn 5 as he fights with the rear end of the car. Now we see the McLaren driver of Zane right behind as well as we head down towards the braking zone. Sorry about that. We head down towards the braking zone in towards turn 7 we go, but he's a bit too far back to make any moves on this occasion. It must be so frustrating now. I know it's early in the Grand Prix, but still frustrating that you can't make any moves, because all the guy ahead of you needs is a good exit and use his battery down the straight. That's all he needs, the guy ahead of you. With the dirty air, with no DRS either. It's all about straight line speed as well, and your setup and your confidence as well in the slow speed, high speed corners. It's all about your exits really. And here comes Zane, almost on the inside, as we see the Red Bull and Nico looking to go on the outside of Hazara. Let's see how this battle unfolds, because Hazara's P10, the man is second in the championship. Finley, his championship rival, is P5. Nico looks to go on the inside, which he does do as he puts himself into P10. Hazara though currently in no man's land in P11. His championship rival of Finley is currently up into P5. And this is bad news for Zara, being stuck in this traffic. Qualifying didn't go his way whatsoever. As you know, is bringing that gap down. The gap is under a second, or almost under a second. A lap ago, it was 1.9 because he was fighting with Alex a lap ago, but now it's 9/10 of a second then. So Yanil has got some decent pace in his hands, very good in the wet conditions, and let's see, can he capitalise and catch the top two? We should see some fantastic racing between all three of them. And like I said, for those who have just joined, apologies if you hear me stutter or can't speak. It's because I am ill. I've got a blocked nose and a sore throat, unfortunately, so I'm trying to survive myself in these tricky conditions and trying to hold on. But I think we've got a long race ahead of us. Of course, it's the Singapore Grand Prix. I remember in the old days in Formula 1, I say old days, what, 2014? And in the past as well. That yeah, we ran to the 2-hour time limit, I think. But of course, we don't need that in this game because it's a 50% race. I don't think he is, Josh. I'm not quite sure, man. I'm not quite sure where he is. As we now head down towards the Anderson Bridge we go. As we head towards turn 13, Yanil is super close. He's dispatched Alex very quickly and he's caught up to the top two as well. So Yanil is looking very racy so far in that Williams as he improves in the middle sector. I wonder, would the race shift away and will we see the dry cooled power tyres being introduced very shortly? That's what I like. I love a wet/dry race. I don't like a full wet race because sometimes it can be boring and we see a lot of drivers segregated from each other and a lot of big gaps forming as well. So I do like it when it's wet to dry or dry to wet because it really spices things up. And look at Yanil, super quick. Another fast lap there from the Williams driver as he continues to hunt down the Red Bull of Ivan, who's currently running in a solid P2. And I know Ivan recently has been struggling too in the last few races. He did finish in P5 back at the Silverstone Grand Prix. He's had multiple top 10 finishes, has Ivan. He never seems to be up there, but now he is in P2. And Yanil is right behind as well as we head down towards turn 7 we go. I'll read you coming out soon, very soon, Josh. Just let me get my bearings for the time being. I wouldn't worry, mate, if anyone wants to be horrible. They're not worth your time. No one's being horrible, mate. It's just that I don't want to spoil the race. I don't want to ruin it by me coughing all the time or stuttering or whatever. I'm just trying my best to hold on. But yeah, appreciate the comment, Josh. Thank you very much. As the gap is 8, 9, 10 between Fraser and Ivan. Yanil is getting super close there. You can see that Ivan's starting to feel the pressure now on the back of Yanil as we head down towards turn 13 they go. Where can Yanil strike? Is it down towards turn 14 in the next heavy braking zone? Is it down towards turn 7? Where can he strike? Or can Ivan just hold on? Because sometimes in the wet conditions it is very difficult to overtake with the guys ahead of you having much better exits, and therefore you just can't seem to get close as Zara is scrapping away with Leon as we head out of turn number 11 or 13, sorry. This is very crucial for the Sauber driver. He needs to try and recover as many points as he can, but he won't get any points outside the top 10. So it's going to be very difficult now for Zara to try and take any points away from Finley in P5. Finley just needs a clean race in P5. That's all he needs. He's got one Sauber right behind him. But I really hope there's no contact like there was back in the British GP between these two. Finley and Lawrence making contact back in Buckford, or Luffield, sorry. I really hope there is none this time, but Yanil is super close. Use the batch on the back of the Red Bull driver. Can he make his way past? We're about to find out. We're about to find out now. He goes up the inside, but no. Ivan's just a bit late on the brakes there as Yanil squirms away. I thought for 1 second that Yanil would try the inside, but I think they're both late to the brakes there. So therefore, Ivan just stayed in front. We can definitely tell that the Red Bull driver is struggling in some places of the racetrack, just starting to fight with the car on the exits there. Yanil is looking to capitalise. Look at that, you can see the amount of speed he is carrying through some corners there. So definitely got the confidence in these wet conditions to try and have some mega pace and get towards the top of the field. He made a fantastic move on Alex, but can he do it on Ivan as we head down turn 14, but still can't quite make a move just yet as Zane is quite close towards Kevin, but too far back to make any move for the time being then. It's still Fraser who leads this race ahead of Evan. I believe Fraser is still searching for his first win of the season. I think he is. Yeah, he is. In fact, Fraser is still searching. Yeah, Fraser is still searching for his first of the season. Got 2 podiums back in Brazil and back in Austria, but still looking for that first race win. It could be possible, but the likes of Yanil, who are very quick for the time being, putting the pressure on. Yanil is desperate to get past. He knows he's quicker than the guy ahead, but just can't seem to find any way past. How frustrating is it for a driver to be stuck behind somebody, knowing you're quicker than them, but can't get past? He must be a sinking feeling in P3 that just can't seem to find any way past for the time being. But one mistake is all it takes for Ivan, and Yanil is straight past. So Ivan's going to make sure he doesn't make any mistakes now. Try to make sure he focuses on the exits. That's what he needs, the exits of corners. Of course, have battery as well, because the battery will help you out of corners as well, because when it comes to rain, you're not on full throttle as you are, so it's much easier to save battery in the rain in comparison to the dry. Let's see if Ivan keeps it nice and tidy, but how much pressure is he going to be under? Can he, if it does stay as a wet race, not the whole race, is it a one-stop strategy still? Of course, from Inter to Inter. I'm not quite sure how long the Inters go around here. I know the wear isn't quite as sufficient as it has been recently. Tyre wear isn't quite high so far on this track with the rain, but I wonder, is it still going to be a one-stop strategy from Inter to Inter? Can anybody take the Inters towards the end? I'm not quite sure. 15 laps more or less. Thank you, Matteo. Appreciate that much. As Ivan now sets the fast lap of the Grand Prix. So Ivan has started to pick up the pace, knowing he's under pressure from Yanil. You see, I don't really drive much on this game no more, because I used to be a racer and a commentator. So I had a lot of information about how long the tyres could go for. Of course, I still know what the strategies are, but in terms of knowledge in general, I'm starting to lack a little bit, because I don't race as much anymore as I used to, so I'm not quite sure how long tyres can go for. Is the rain starting to ease off? Is it going to get better towards the latter stages of this Grand Prix? All 16 drivers, though, still remain in this Grand Prix, as Ivan is bringing the gap down towards Fraser now. So Ivan, despite being under pressure, he's coping really well so far, as is the Red Bull driver, and he's bringing the gap down as well. So not too bad there from Ivan. It is very easy. Oh, did he take too much curb there? Is that going to be a warning for Ivan? I'm not quite sure, as he gets super close to the wall there. Look at Yanil, just lurking on the back of him. It's like a predator, just waiting to take his prey at any given moment. But it's taken longer than expected. Of course, like I said, it's just so difficult to find a way past in this rain and on this track as well. Going a bit deep at turn 13 there towards Yanil, so he lost a bit of time towards Ivan. Ivan is under a second of Fraser, so despite being under massive pressure, you can tell that Ivan is not fazed by that. Alex and Finley in P4, P5 are starting to catch up. We've got Lawrence in P6, who was a bit detached a bit from this train. The gap is 1.3, so he was closing in on Finley at a certain point in the Grand Prix, but seems to be dropping backwards a little bit. I know, guys, this race has been a bit boring, but hopefully we'll spice up things soon. As you know, once again, right at the back of Ivan. Sometimes wet races in league races doesn't always go well. Depends what track it is as well, because some tracks like this just too difficult to overtake anybody. You got similar pace, similar battery levels as well. It's just a bit difficult. You don't have any DRS either to get past. Same. I dare say the same downforce levels, because of course this track is high downforce, of course, so you don't really have the straight line speed advantage. You need the downforce in the corners. Look at that! Look at that! Ivan has caught up massively towards the Aston Martin driver, so Fraser seems to have lost a bit of time towards Ivan and Yanil. So now he's been under pressure from the guys behind. And Lawrence and Kevin now get 3 second penalties. So two drivers have picked up penalties. And look at this! Lawrence is right behind Finley all of a sudden. The gap was like over a second, now it's 2 tenths. So Lawrence has gained a lot of time on Finley, and here he is then. Is this going to be the first proper overtake? He's not. 6/10 in the middle sector. Do you know what I think he's done? I think he's fully cut the chicane there. There's no way. He's found a lot of time in that space of the wide sector, so I think he skipped over the chicane, hence why he's got a 3-second penalty already in the Grand Prix. So that's big news there for Lawrence, unfortunately for him. Now takes back the fast lap of the Grand Prix. The top three under a second of each other, so this game very spicy indeed. And Tom now sets the fast lap of the Grand Prix. Where is he? Down in P13. So I think the conditions are getting better. I'm sorry about that on the screen there. Hopefully you can ignore it. As we head down towards turn 5 now. Look at you, Neil, just oversteering away out of turn 5. Is this the biggest challenge he's had all race to get past Ivan? Look at this there with the battery in use. Can he get past him? Headed down towards turn 7. He can't. He just gives him a bit of a love tap there, but nothing more than that. As he stays behind, as he tries from the inside, but Ivan has that covered, and Yanil has to look for other ways to get past him. This is great tactical defending from Ivan. He's placed the car in the right places at the right time, keeping the Williams in check. And also, Alex Marciano has caught up as well in the Ferrari, so he hasn't lost any pace at all. As once again, Ivan under immense pressure from the Williams behind. How long can he sustain this? As we see out of turn number 12, the Williams scrimming away once again, so we lost a bit of time towards the Red Bull driver. The Red Bull driver doing a mega job so far of keeping that Williams at bay. But the Ferrari of Alex have caught up as well. We're starting to come towards the pit lane territory soon. Yeah, we are starting to come towards the end of the life of the intermediates. About lap 16, I think, that Matteo said. Christian, out of control, in towards the chicane. He goes, and he makes more contact with Kevin. And he's in the wall as well. Barging and bumping at the pit there as Zane. Look at that. Nico goes around the outside, in towards the final two corners. As we see Christian and Kevin now going side by side. Will they end their fight peacefully? And as we head down towards turn 1, this time they do, as Christian puts himself into P7. And as you can see, or as you can hear, my voice is starting to go. Not because of this race, it's because of my illness. So I really do hate to bring it up, because I want to remind people, if those people are joining, that the reason why you hear me start to lose my voice or stutter or just struggling to speak in general is because of my because I'm ill. So just bear with me. I'm trying my absolute best. But Yanil has lost a bit of time towards he's sliding all over the place now. So Yanil, who was putting the pressure on, is starting to struggle under pressure from Kevin and from Alex right behind. So what has happened to Yanil's pace there? Did he make a big mistake and he just lose focus or something like that? Because Alex is now all at the back of him. So Alex is looking to take P3 away from him, because Alex lost P3 a few laps ago. Now he wants it back. So now Alex is knocking on the door. As we've got Kevin, who has spun, unfortunately, down there, and he's gone off to the runoff area. I think he has anyway. Not sure what happened to him, but his race has pretty much been done and dusted right now. As there's 20 laps left to go in this Grand Prix. Been quite a stale race so far, but that's what you expect at a race like this in Singapore with the intermediate conditions. And once again, Alex right at the back of Yanil. What's happened to his pace? Just seems to be struggling. Has he got any damage on that Williams? Let's have a look. Has he got any damage? No, he hasn't. So I wonder what's happened to him. Has his tyres dropped off dramatically? And Yanil gets a 3-second time penalty. So whatever pace he had has gone completely. I'm not quite sure what's happened to him, but it seems to be losing focus now, losing a lot of time. And he's picked himself up a 3-second time penalty. The Haasman, MC Parler, has picked himself up a 3-second time penalty. So that'll be detrimental towards their races. But Yanil, despite putting pressure on second and first, might not even find himself on the podium anymore. And that penalty will be detrimental towards this race later on in the Grand Prix if other people don't have one either. That's a massive shame there for Yanil, because he was one of the fastest on the track, and now he seems to be struggling here in the streets of Singapore. But he starts to claw some drivers back. Only 15 drivers left too, says Jeff. What, 16 if you include Kevin? Yeah, it's not a full house here tonight, unfortunately. But hopefully, when it comes towards the last two races of the Grand Prix, which is Mexico and Abu Dhabi, we'll see the full grid again. I know a lot of people don't like this track, so that's probably why they've skipped school and waiting for next week. But now, finds himself under massive pressure from Alex right behind. In the background is Finley and Lawrence in P6. Christian's 2 seconds further back, under pressure from Nico and Zayn right behind. Hazara in P11 hasn't really made any inroads on anybody so far. Let's see, did he start us at the top 10? He did. Started us at the top 10, he's been dropped into P11. Leon, however, from P16 to P10, so a decent drive from the Haasman. And in the pit lane comes Mercedes then to change onto a brand new set of the intermediate tyres. Is this the moment where we start to see some pit stops from Inter to Inter? Let's have a look right now. It's a brand new set of Inter tyres. And can he make them towards the end of the Grand Prix? Can he make them towards the end, sorry? Also, if you do hear me mute myself, that's because I've coughed in the background. So I don't want you to hear me, guys. Don't want you guys to hear me cough in the background either. So I'm trying my absolute best to survive here as much as I can. But Alex Marciano then putting big pressure on who's caught up once again towards Ivan. So Ivan had a bit of breathing space, and now he finds himself with Yanil and Alex right behind. But these guys are looking to try and do the undercut on each other. We'll see then as we head down towards the hairpin we go. Yeah, Alex right to the back of Yanil. It's a move on for the Ferrari driver down towards the hairpin. No, it's not, because Yanil defends that one. As we head down towards turn 13, I wonder if look at Alex in the background just sliding away there, applying the brakes, but doesn't seem to be slowing down, unfortunately for him. One of these intermediates starting to come towards the end of their peak performance, and I wonder will these guys look to do a pit stop at the end of the next few laps as well. So Tom pitted quite early down there in P16, probably wants to clean air as these guys continue to circulate once again as they extend their stint on the Inters. So I wonder if Tom's new set of Inters, they can go towards the end, but I wonder how bad they'll be towards the end of the Grand Prix. As we see that once again struggling through turn number 3, just fighting with the rear end of the car. It's been very good so far, in this race, but unfortunately that 3-second penalty has really let him down, and Alex just looking for a way past, but can't seem to do so. As we head down towards turn 7, he was close, but not close enough to make a move down towards turn 7. I'll tell you who's done a good job so far. This man in P1, CPI Fraser. The disappointments at the Silverstone Grand Prix when he was leading and he dropped backwards in the second stint due to contact or a spin, I'm not quite sure. He's done a mega job so far, and I really hope he just gets first win of the season, because that's both Aston Martins, that's 2 teammates with a win this season, and that'll definitely help him in the Constructors as well, because in the Constructors, Aston Martin are leading by 5 points. And if you see what Aston Martin are and Kick Sauber P6 and P11, Aston Martin 1 and 5. You can definitely tell who's bringing home the big points. And Aston Martin have a big chance of winning this championship as well. It's looking good so far. I don't want to jinx them, of course, but it looks like it's going Fraser's way. I don't think anything could stop him, unless, of course, safety cars or a change of strategy. Who knows? For one moment on that camera lens, I thought it stopped raining. And if it did, that'd be bad news for Tom, but it's not stopped raining just yet. It is still pouring out here in Singapore. As into the pit lane comes the van and Yanil. So these three, Alex is in the pit lane too, are pitting onto a brand new set of the Inter tyres then. So 15 laps, as Matteo predicted. Very good prediction there, Matteo, on the brand new set of Inters. And let's see how this affects the strategy. Lawrence then once again exploits the track limits as it's an Aston Martin 1-2 in this Grand Prix. Lawrence is right behind Finley as we head down towards turn 7. Too far away to make a move so far in this Grand Prix. We know that these two teams, of course, are championship rivals. We know that Finley is in a fight with Hazara in terms of the Drivers' Championship. So I think Lawrence might try and disrupt him in any way, shape or form. So, the leaders, it looks like the net race leaders came out in P9 and P10. So Ivan, the highest new Inter runner, is in P9 ahead of Yanil. Alex Marciano in P11 It's been a stale race from so far from everybody. Not really much changing in the field. But what do you expect? It is the Singapore Grand Prix, as Kevin Zundberg is on the wet compound tyres then, so it doesn't look to me that the wets are the favourite tyre. As we head onto the back straight, I think Lawrence and Finley might start to think about a pit stop as Leon gets himself a 3-second time in this race as well. And into the pit lane comes the kick-stopper then of Lawrence. He's decided to end his stint in the Inters. And in the pit lane comes Nico and Hazara and Evernai. So both kick-stoppers are double stacking. But so close there. But where's Fraser? So Fraser is in the pit lane as well. Obviously doesn't want to leave it too late because of the undercut threat from the guys behind. Let's see, where's Ivan? Ivan should be a bit too far back because Fraser had a massive lead, but we know the undercut can be quite powerful on the front side of Inter tyres then. So let's see where he is as Fraser rejoins in the lead. You know what? The gap's gone down quite significantly, so one more lap and Fraser, I dare say, would have been undercutted because the gap before the pit stops was 3 seconds then. So you can definitely tell how powerful the undercut was if Fraser would have stayed out by one lap later. It's a good job that Fraser pitted when he should have done, but who was spun? Who has gone for a spin? I'm not quite sure who that was. Was it Leon? I'm not quite sure. I don't want to give out any names unless I've got solid proof of evidence. But look at these two. Lawrence and Tom going wheel to wheel in towards turn 7. They go. Oh, it's so close there. And now Nico capitalises wheel to wheel with the Sauber driver. Let's see, can he get ahead? Not yet. Oh, it's so close. But ETA Lawrence just stays ahead for the time being. Remember, he was fighting with Fraser, so his main target is Fraser. Let's see where Fraser will, Finley. Let's see where Finley will rejoin. That always confuses me between Fraser and Finley. Both got the same letter at the start of the letter, but of course different names. Finley and Fraser. As Finley now makes his way into the pit lane, and let's see how good this pit stop will be. Let's see where will he rejoin. Zane and M. Sapala. Well, M. Sapala stayed out, but Zane is also in the pit lane too. But will Finley rejoin behind, I think, Lawrence? Let's have a look, shall we? As he trundles down the pit lane to about, I think it is 60 kilometers an hour. Yeah, 60 kilometers an hour as we now head back out once again. Sorry about that, I'm trying to get my, there we go, trying to sort myself out. But here we go then, out of turn number 1. That's Nico versus Tom out of the pit lane. And Finley rejoins behind Lawrence then, which is very interesting for the championship. Of course, Finley not having a good race so far here at the Singapore Grand Prix. Finley has been undercutted by Lawrence in P7. There's only 3 drivers in between Finley and Hazara, but we know that Hazara has been struggling quite a lot in this Grand Prix so far. Fraser has done a mega job in this Grand Prix, must be said. Fantastic work, great pit stops as well, good pace overall, and ever since he's been on pole, he never looked back. That's how much of a good race it's been so far from Fraser. But we know both Aston Martins recently have been on it so far. Like, they've been really, really quick, have been both of them. CPI will be happy, I'm pretty sure Troy will be happy as well with that as a result. I know Troy is not happy with me right now, but of course he's watching his drivers, seeing how they're doing. One of them's the P2, the next race leader. The other one's on the P10, but of course for Finley it's all about taking points away from Hazara and Yanil. Don't discount out Yanil for the championship either. Currently in P4, he'll gain a huge chunk of points if you finish on the podium today, with Finley down in P10 and Hazara down in P14. Don't discount out him. It's a super close championship and I have no idea what's going to happen or who's going to win this Grand Prix. It could be anybody's game because every single race we have seen different things happen. Sometimes it go one driver's way and the next race it doesn't, and vice versa. It always swings about. That's what happens in F1 league racing. It's like a roundabout. It swings about in all different directions. You never know which direction it's going to head in, of course. And now we're headed down towards turn 7. On board Williams of Yanil. He must be so frustrated being stuck behind the Red Bull driver. He's been stuck behind him throughout the whole race. Just can't seem to find an opening Can't seem to find an overtake as the Red Bull driver just moves left and right there, just moving a little bit. But finds himself under pressure from Alex. Alex could get his first podium of the season. Did make a mistake out there? I did see his back end step on him when he entered the Addison Bridge, but luckily he kept it in control. Alex Marciano, second appearance here in PSGL. I wonder, could he get a podium here in PSGL? What a mega drive for him so far in the Ferrari. Christian has been in a lonely race so far in P6. Nothing's really happened for him. Just been alone, no one to fight with. And he's run a solid race as well in P6. He's got Lawrence behind him. The gap is 1.7 with Nico on the prod as well. Zane has overtaken Leon. Oh, he's in the wall! Zane is in the wall and he's lost his wing. What on earth happened there? He just caught the McLaren driver on board as he just went straight off and hit the wall. No safety car, no virtual safety car, as Lawrence picks himself up at 3-second penalty, and that will be 6 seconds then. So that'll be detrimental for his race and his championship as well, as Alex has a massive slide. And look at this, he is right behind you, Nil. As we head down towards turn 7, can he make an overtake? He's getting closer and closer. We go wheel to wheel as we head down towards turn 7. There's slight contact, but they keep it pointing in the right direction there. They just tag wheels. That could have been a lot nastier, but the aggressor, the defender, just holds on for the time being. That could have ended very badly for both drivers there, especially with the hard work that Alex has done during this Grand Prix. Searching for his first podium of the season is the Ferrari driver. He's done a mega job so far, but he's just so difficult around this track just to overtake in these wet conditions. It seems like it's going to rain throughout the whole race then. So wet weather conditions are with us, unfortunately. I haven't seen the rain since March, because of course the UK weather has been very good so far, so hopefully it doesn't rain in the next few days in the UK. Of course, people in the UK, Netherlands, Germany, wherever you are, have experienced some good weather right now. Fraser is on the back of MC Parler, but MC Parler, I think he's done the wise thing, because what's the point of holding up Fraser, because he's on old tyres, so there's no point holding up somebody that's going to overtake you, and therefore ruin their race. So Fraser has been released, he's up into P1. Do I see damage from the Haas? There is damage on the left-hand side end plate there, so he's lost a bit of end plate there. That's why. Oh, he's almost lost the car. That is so close. But I wonder how old his tyres are. Obviously, the 19 laps old. But I want to know how bad they are. Are they close towards punchy territory? As Karachi has retired in the pit lane, so no safety car will be deployed. Unfortunately, well, no safety car will be deployed, but unfortunately, he is out of the Grand Prix. And look at that, he's sliding massively, hits the wall, and a van. He has to overtake him very quickly, he does, as he puts himself into P2. Didn't want to lose any time in that particular part of the track at all. So Yanil has to get past him very quickly as well. I presume that the swap will be orchestrated, because of course they're both in NLR. I don't expect the Haas to hold up Yanil, but we'll see how it happens as we head down towards turn 13. It's not making it easy for him, is he, really? He let Fraser go easily, but now he pulls to the right side and lets him go. And what about Alex? Well, Alex has to overtake him quickly as well before he loses time towards Yanil and loses the podium, essentially, as well. Here we go in the final corner, and Alex does go for it. He puts himself into P4 ahead of the Haas. Very easy move and very crucial move to make as well. And in the background, Christian is under massive pressure from Lawrence and Nico. So all of a sudden, Christian, who's on a clean race, finds himself under massive pressure from the Sauber and the Red Bull driver. So this could get interesting now for the battle for P6 going on between these three. Christian has run his own race so far, but he finds himself under pressure from Lawrence and Nico. Finley is at the back of this train as well in P9. But he's a bit too far back to make any move on this occasion. I wonder how it's going in PSGL F1, of course. I think PSGL F1 is happening right now. our usual commentator of Logan, who commentates for Formula 2, will commentate for Formula 1 to replace Brian. So that should be very interesting. Logan gets a second shot of it in PSGL F1. It's been a pleasure to commentate for this race, but of course it's been a bit boring, it must be said. At the same time, it's been better than Japan. We've seen a few close battles, but I think it's because of this track being so difficult to overtake. With the low downforce setup as well, you just can't seem to find an overtake anyway. It's just so difficult in the dirty air. You really need a big tyre advantage to overtake somebody, or somebody ahead of you struggling massively. As you can see, Christian now, as Lawrence gets super close under braking. Christian finds himself under massive pressure from the south behind. And let's see, can Lawrence overtake him going down towards turn 1? Or will he wait down for turn 7? Who's that in front of us? That is Sapala, who is out there on the old Inters there. So he's going for the end. Surely he's going towards the Grand Prix on those Inters. There's no point pitting now. And I think, will he get a puncher? Because those tyres do look shredded. They don't look good whatsoever, do they? When you're out of ball with him, it feels so sensitive. There is no grip there whatsoever. And in towards turn 7. Bit of contact there between the two. Yanil off the road. As now we go down towards turn 8. Yanil defends the inside line. Does he go deep? He doesn't. And Alex Marciano just stays in P4 for the time being then. Great defending from Yanil once again, putting his car in the right places, not allowing Alex to go left or right. Good stuff indeed there from these two. Very experienced drivers indeed, as Christian has overtaken the struggling Haas on old tyres. The Haas literally has no grip left on his tyres whatsoever. They're completely disintegrated. My TV is about to turn off as down the inside goes Lawrence, but my TV is literally about to turn off, so I need to find the remote as quickly as I can before it turns off. As you can see, Sapala has let people go because he knows that he's on very old Inters indeed. My TV is literally about to turn off, so let me find the remote very quickly. Here we go. I had 20 seconds left to spare before it turned off. And if it turned off, that means my PlayStation would turn off as well and the stream would end it. I think the track could do Ivan, how are you doing, mate? Nice to see you in the chat. As Yanil has been finally overtaken by Alex. Alex has got past him. And that's a very obscure place indeed, unconventional. So I wonder if Yanil made a big mistake at the final corner. It's a shame he missed that. But I think Yanil made a big mistake at the final corner. And Alex got the run to put himself into P3. He's finally been released up into third place, looking for his first podium of the season. Does he have the pace to catch Ivan for P2? Het er goed in met jou, dankjewel. But yes, does Alex have the pace to catch Ivan for second place, I wonder? As we see Finley then on a new set of Inters, gaining on Lawrence as well for P6. This battle is not over yet. The championship leader currently in P6, or P7 sorry, hunted down the Sauber and the McLaren driver. It's so difficult. The main important thing for Finley tonight is because there's 3 races left, including this one. It's just so important not to make contact or make any sort of silly lunge up the inside of anybody. Make sure if you do make your lunges, make it nice and clean. You don't want to cause contact, get unnecessary penalties, or lose your front wing, or get yourself a penalty as well. Just got to make sure you keep it nice and clean, knowing there's a championship on the line. Because there is a championship running on the line for Finley, Hazara, Lawrence, I dare say, and the gaps from first down to fourth is about 14 points between first and fourth, and that's Finley, Hazara, and Yanil and Lawrence as well. So we know that Lawrence got a 6-second penalty as well, so he'll drop back quite a few places with that 6-second penalty glooming on his shoulders. But we know Finley's got none. Oh, there's a yellow flag down there. What's happened between these two? And that's Hazara, the man that's second in the championship, getting involved in some sort of scrutiny, as Leon there also pits his ball as he almost lost the car. It's been a terrible day for Hazara so far. The man that won at Silverstone unfortunately has major disaster out here in Singapore. Doesn't seem to have any pace at all, and hopefully for his sake he comes back stronger in Mexico and in Abu Dhabi, because in Mexico and Abu Dhabi he's got a lot of work to do to try and regain those lost points as well. 7 laps left to go in this Grand Prix. Still, it's Fraser who's been unchallenged at the front of the field. The gap has been increasing ever so slightly every single lap. Fraser has done a mega job in this Grand Prix, must be said. Give full credit to the man in first place, because in Silverstone he was looking for his first win, but unfortunately I think whatever happened to him, I think in the second stint, I think someone made contact with him and unfortunately got sent down the order. But here in Singapore, nobody is threatening him or challenging him. The only thing that could go wrong for him is a safety car, but I doubt that'll be coming out. This is the closest battle so far on the track, the battle from P8 down to P5. Nico's at the back of his train. I tell a lie, it's these two. Where is the Haas? The Haas is in the wall. Mr. Parler has lost it. I can't even see him either. What on earth happened there for him? That is down at turn number 13. Oh, he's got a puncher. Yeah, he's got a puncher. And he's left it too late and he's gone for another spin there. So 24 laps on a set of inters. And yeah, he'll be struggling to get that car in the pit lane then with that puncher. But I would say, because when I went to ball with him, it seemed that the car was pointing upwards in the air. It was very, very weird how the car was pointing. Very bizarre indeed, but of course that puncher explains it all. And when you get a punch in this game, it is so difficult to bring it back towards the pit lane as well. So that's a long journey there for him. As we head down towards turn 7 there, with McLaren and the Sauber. Lawrence putting massive pressure on Christian in front of him, but can't seem to find a way past. The Rebel and Nico getting all screwed in the exit there, out of turn number 7. So I think Sapala has been the guinea pig to see how long the Inters could go. And look at that. So Lawrence just hits the back of the McLaren there. Be very careful not to make contact in these corners, but Lawrence is being so impatient. And he's so desperate. And here comes Finley now side by side in towards turn 11 we go. Can Finley now capitalise and get ahead of the Sauber driver? We're about to find out now as we head down towards the breakers zone of turn 13. But seems the Sauber has the advantage and has the inside line to keep the Aston Martin at bay for the time being then. I think Finley's being very clever, knowing that the championship is on the line, so therefore doesn't want to make any sort of crazy moves. You see, when you struggle in a race, you know you've got to be very careful as well when you have a championship on the line. But Alex Marciano, another man that's got some amazing pace on his hands tonight, is putting pressure on the van. Do you know what? Despite this race not having much action, it's been a good one. There is 5 laps left to go. This race has absolutely flown by, despite it being wet, despite not much action on the track so far. But I've enjoyed it. Sometimes in league racing, you can't always have the best races. As we see now, the battle for P5 intensify. Here comes Finley now, side by side, there's a bit of contact. As we head down towards turn 7, Finley around the outside, but there's no space there. And here comes Nico around the outside, in towards turn 8, there's contact. Oh, the Sauber's in the wall! There's a big crash! Nico and Lawrence in the wall! And a safety car has been deployed there. As you can see, the Kick Sauber has lost his wheel, and Nico, unfortunately, has been involved in the contact. Lawrence's championship aspirations is slowly going down the drain here, unfortunately. And I think, what on earth happened there with Lawrence? Did he get frustrated with the battle for Finley, with Finley? I'm not sure, but the safety car has been thrown into the mix now, and it completely changes things. What are these guys going to do? Is there any point pitting? I am not sure. The rain seems to be easing off. Look at the rain. It's not that torrential as it was early on in the Grand Prix as well. But yes, it did look very strange from my point of view. The rain has stopped, has it? Yeah. No? Has it stopped? Yeah, the rain has stopped. Wow, the rain has stopped. Could we see the soft compound tyres or the mediums? And we will. The soft compound tyres, for the first time in this race, has been introduced. And we change over to the dry car. Oh, you know. Oh, he gets a 10-second penalty for speed in the pit lane, and that's going to cost him big time as well. So for the first time in this race, we see the dry compound tyres introduced. I didn't even clock on that the rain was easing off. I did mention that the rain didn't look too bad as it was before. But let me have a look at that instant again. Obviously, I don't want to point out fingers, so I want to make sure I get the full story first before I make any assumptions. Yeah, the wheel disconnected, plainly. Oh, that's a massive shame for Lawrence. The car just stopped turning and he went straight into the wall. And Nico, unfortunately, was the innocent bystander in that one. Do you know what? That's the kryptonite, isn't it, of league racing. You got like nightmares. The biggest nightmares when it comes to gaming is internet. But in F1, but in F1, it is the wheel disconnections that are your biggest fears in F1 league racing. I wouldn't know because I'm a commentator. I don't have a wheel, so I have no idea about wheel disconnections. But I've definitely had a wheel before in the past, and it is so frustrating when it disconnects because you're winning a good race, and all of a sudden you have no feedback whatsoever. You have no force feedback or any fuel, and it's gone. How does this shape up the race now towards the end? Now we've got the dry translation coming in. We've got the dry phase coming in. How does this shape up the race now? We've got about 4 laps left to go in the Grand Prix. DRS will be enabled for the first time. This is going to be a mega race towards the end. It's going to be literally a sprint race towards the end. And with all the drivers and a brand new set of soft compound tyres, this could get very hectic indeed. Can Fraser still maintain the lead of Grand Prix? Do you know what? If Fraser doesn't win this Grand Prix after all of the hard work he's done in the past 26 laps, it'll be mega hard, it'll be mighty heartbreak for the Aston Martin driver. Also, as well, talk about wheel rigs. Shout out to GT Omega for sponsoring, of course, PSGL. As for 1 second, Ivan, I thought he was going to do the pit lane, but why would he? That'd be a very stupid thing indeed if he did. But shout out to title sponsor GT Omega, of course. You can use the code PSGL at the checkout for 5% off on all GT Omega products. I thought, whilst we're talking about wheels, I had to get that in very quickly. Plus, I forgot too, so that was a very good opportunity for me to give the sponsor in. So that's something off my checklist there. Via Nico and Hazara swapping places. I hope they don't do any silly buggers here because we know Hazara is in a championship fight, so he can't afford to lose any points. Because Finley is in P6, there is one driver in between Finley and Nico. Yanil is in P4, but Yanil might lose a lot of places towards Finley and Hazara because he's P3 in the championship, right behind Finley and Hazara. And with him having a 10-second time penalty, maybe a 13 penalty. Yeah, 30-second time penalty. That's going to be massive points loss. We thought for one moment in the Grand Prix that Yanil had a big chance of potentially catching Fraser because his pace was mighty towards the first stint. But now, he finds himself with a 30-second time penalty and ultimately will not outscore any of his rivals of Finley and Hazara. How does this affect the championship now? ETA Lawrence, unfortunately, just out of his control. And for Yanil, it's driver error with a 13-second time penalty. And what happened to him? Oh, he's in the wall. Oh, come on, Yanil. Yep, his race has definitely been ruined now. So, what's going to happen now towards the last few laps of this Grand Prix? We're waiting for the Hassers to catch up. Mr. Parler is on a bonus of intermediate compound tyres then, so I think he must be running the Australian setup or something like that, because both Hassers went on the Inters, didn't they? On a drying track as he spun the car around. Remember, Sir Parler picked up a puncher in the last few laps. Leon spun early in the Grand Prix as well. So we're down to 13 people in this race. A safety car has been thrown into the mix, and because the guys at the back haven't caught up yet, that means we'll have 2 laps of racing. Lap 30 and lap 31. So I don't believe DRS will be enabled. It will, yeah. DRS will be enabled on the last lap of the Grand Prix. So luckily for Fraser, DRS will be enabled once, and that should be enough to help him win the Grand Prix, I think. Fraser hasn't had a win yet this season, neither has Ivan, and neither has Alex Marciano. You know what? Ivan's going for his first podium, so is Alex, and Fraser is going for his first win of the season. Can you believe it? The top 3 all go for something, all have something to prove. Van's best result only came at the... That was his best last result of the season. That was at the British GP last week for round number 6. And that was P5. Both Red Bulls had a mega result. And Nico, so far, in P6. So both Red Bulls could find themselves scoring some big points like they did at the British GP. Because the P7 so far in the championship, do you know what? I've not even read the Constructors' Championship out yet. So let me do that quickly before the safety car comes in. So the Aston Martins are leading with 94 points ahead of Sauber. Sauber 89 points, they're 5 behind of Aston Martin. Williams in P3 with 51 points. McLaren P4 with 42. Mercedes P5 with 41. P6 is Alpine with 28 points. P7 is Red Bull with 20 points. B Corp 8th with 15. Haas and Ferrari 9th and 10th with 12 and 10 points to their names then. So there is going to be 2 laps after this one. 2 laps of racing, 2 laps of potentially pure carnage to end off the Singapore Grand Prix, which started slowly. But we'll see. Will this change now the whole trajectory of this Grand Prix? Let's see what happens now towards the last few laps. Will there be any upsetting moments during the Grand Prix? I wonder. Let's see. Let's find out what happens now as the drivers then will get to the foot of the floor very shortly. Fraser will lead them away. Fraser has led all of this Grand Prix, but it could be taken away from him because Ivan could fancy a chance on a set of soft compound tyres to take it away from him. And he goes then, so he pulled the trigger, lap 30 out of 31. Remember, this is the first time the drivers have experienced these conditions. In the background, there is cars everywhere. Look at the 2 Hassers as we go wheel to wheel down towards turn 1 and turn 2. As Leon puts himself into P9 from P12 then, so that's a multi-car scrap going on there between all these guys. But back towards the front, Alex is right behind Ivan. These guys know there's a big chance of winning the Grand Prix. In the background, somebody spun, I think. Or did they save the car? But here comes Alex now, up the inside. We go wheel to wheel in towards turn 7. We go, there's contact between the 2. Wheel banging. As Ivan, they made more contact. And luckily, they're almost in the wall there. They just tag wheels. But Ivan, who was looking for a podium in this Grand Prix, won't find one because he's got a 3-second time penalty. And this could mean Christian could be demoted or promoted up towards the podium. What a shame for Ivan, who was running the top 3 majority of this race, and Zane has dropped down the order. Why on earth has Zane not pitted for a set on the soft compound tyres? And look at this then, as we see guys trying to get the inside in towards turn number 12. But what a shame for Ivan there. I don't know what to say about that one because he's running on the podium for the whole race, then all of a sudden it goes wrong in the last few laps of the Grand Prix. Just your heart breaks really. It's just a sinking feeling when that happens, knowing that you run a solid race and all of a sudden safety car comes out, changes everything, and therefore ruins your race then. So I think Christian could find himself on the podium for the 3rd time this season, but towards the front of the field, nobody is challenging Fraser. Now we're headed down towards turn 1 we go. Oh, Christian, they're getting very close towards cutting the corner towards turn 1. And look at that, that's Finley up the inside in towards turn 3, is it? No, it's not. Too far back, I presume. Remember, this is the last lap of the Grand Prix. I think DRS will be enabled. DRS is now enabled, but is it be useful for anybody to get past as we head down towards turn 7? I don't think so. 2 people, I think, are too far back. Sam says that a 3-second penalty for Ivan could get removed. Potentially, he did get pushed off the track, I dare say, so maybe that 3-second penalty could be removed. I'm not a steward, I'm just a comms, so we'll see if that happens or not. But if it does happen, then good for him, I guess. But he deserves a podium because he has run a solid race, literally. This will be Red Bull's first podium of the season. Finished in P5 at the British GP, and he's run a solid race so far, Ivan. So I hope he gets a podium because he really does deserve it. He struggled quite a lot this season. But talk about this many people. My voice is going, by the way. From the despair at the Silverstone Grand Prix, a man who was looking to lead, but unfortunately got dropped down the order in the second stint is Silverstone. He makes his way around the final corner, and for the first time this season, he takes the fast up of the Grand Prix, and he wins the Singapore Grand Prix too. Fantastic race, well, beautiful, controlled. driven race from Fraser. Absolutely dominant for the Red Bull driver, for the Aston Martin driver. Once again, Aston Martin will extend their championship lead, as Finley, who was the highest out of those people in the championship order, will extend his championship lead as well. What a fantastic drive it's been. Brilliant controlled race. By the way, I'm really sorry, by the way. My voice is literally going. I'm so glad that this wasn't a chaotic race, because my voice wouldn't be able to withstand all of it. So there it is. There is your classifications. Sorry about that, so I had to mute myself. There are your classifications then. It is Fraser, Alex Marciano, Christian, the two Italians on the podium. We've got Finley in P4 ahead of Nico. Nico with his best result in P5 ahead of Zara. Van P7, Evan IP8, Leon in P9. Both Hasses, despite what happened to them, inside the top 10. Remember, one of those, Leon spun and Misopala got a puncher. Same P11, you know, P12, Tom, Lawrence, Kavachi and Kevin Zumberg. But brilliant race so far from Fraser. He has done a mega job. All credit to him, finally get his first win of the season, and what a place to do it, and showing the rest how it's done here in Singapore. Not once throughout the whole Grand Prix was he put under pressure. Not once. And he fully deserves the win as well. But that's it from me. Go over to PSGL F1 for Logan. Logan is the main F2 commentator. But before you go, there is 2 races left to go this season in F2. That is Abu Dhabi and that is Mexico. So Jordan's back from Mexico and Abu Dhabi for the final 2 races here in PSGL, and it's looking good so far for Finley, who extends his championship lead. I'll see you all later. I have been Jerry Morris, your commentator for tonight, and I'll see you all whenever, or preferably next Monday.